Hi, this is Joe Rabel with Invest Like a Pro. Wanted to show a few actually on the long side in this rough market. There actually have been some pretty interesting setups to the long side. A fewer and farther between, but just to point out a few. And actually, I wanted to show the differences between what I would consider to be, a quality setup and another, which I don't think, would have actually made you money. You could have bought the stock because it moved higher. But it really didn't provide what I would consider to be the type of patterns we're trying to identify. So this first stock is Zoom Video. Obviously, a lot of people looking at doing teleconferencing and that type of thing in this environment. So the stock has been moving higher. Um, One of the things I want to point out is that if you look at what's taken place from this bottom in the beginning of the year, the quiet price action and the size of the bars. And if you notice, as it moved higher here, the size of the bars have gotten bigger. But one thing I wanted to point out is the ADX pattern has continued to remain very strong, and there's not a massive amount of volatility. You got a powerful move to the upside here that peaked in late February. And then, you have pulled back. But while the stock has pulled back and even broken the 18 day, the ADX has still remained very, very strong, even in the high 30s through the whole period. So that's the type of stock that you want to be on the lookout for. I mean, if I'm sitting here and going through and looking for candidates that have the potential to move higher, I think this is where your starting point should be, looking for ADX with this type of criteria, strong movement, not too erratic, not too volatile in terms of the price movement on the or the movement on the ADX, and then holding above the 25 level through a pullback. So that is ideal conditions. I'm going to just switch real quick to Clorox and just compare the difference. So you started out and you were making a lot of the same type of patterns early in the year where you were making the higher highs and higher lows. The volatility really wasn't too bad. But look at what the ADX is telling us. Look at how erratic the price action has been. You had a pullback here, but you just don't have the same kind of strength in terms of the quality of the pullback based on an ADX reading. And, one of the things I wanted to point out here is that a stock could move up without us getting a signal. I mean, if you want to follow the signals from my book, Invest Like a Pro, and look for the type of patterns that I'm suggesting on these videos, you are going to miss upside moves. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. We're looking for quality setups that provide low risk in ideal conditions. And it doesn't mean that you're going to catch every single move. If you're watching a single stock and you think you're going to catch every single swing, you're probably not using the right strategy. I would suggest go find a different strategy. What I'm trying to identify is to go through, say, a list of names. Some form of screen would probably help. And then come back and that screen maybe takes it down to 50, 40, 30 stocks. And then you go through those 30 stocks and you look for the type of criteria in two timeframes that I'm discussing here. So I think that's really how I think you're going to be better off. I think you'll have a lot more consistency to your equity line. I think you'll have a higher win rate. I think the size of your wins will be bigger doing this type of strategy. But it takes a lot of patience. So I've switched back to Zoom. I want to look at when we've got the strength on the daily chart. So now we want to go down to the hourly. And there was a lot of volatility. There's no doubt about it. But if I'm drawing in a downtrend line, I could do one again that's really steep, but I don't like to go too far out of the direction of the slope of the 18. So I'm probably looking at something like this, a break, and I'd probably actually do something along these lines where I would use this high and this high to create the trend line, just because of how steep this decline was. Now I'm moving a little bit more in line with my moving averages in terms of the slope to create the trend of the potential 1, 2, 3 change in trend. So, there's a lot of factors here. there is a lot of noise on this chart. I mean, we can tell from the daily chart the volatility did go up, so you got to be really careful. But we broke the trend line, we moved higher. But look at what happened on the pullback. Instead of getting a mild pullback, we got a really violent price pullback that actually took out the prior low. I'm always on the lookout for the two in the change in trend, right? I want to see the trend line break and then buy a pullback, and hopefully it's a higher low. But sometimes it comes in the form of a lower low that's just very minor. It undercuts the prior bottom and then reverses right away. So, I mean, you really could have looked at this as a signal under a 1, 2, 3 change in trend, especially considering the fact that you had MACD divergence. In this environment, with all the movement and the craziness to the downside and the fact that the bigger picture market, the market can't really get solid footing, I'm probably not inclined to be that aggressive buying Zoom Video in this environment on the long side. I'd probably be waiting for a pinch play trigger right here where the MACD is holding above the 0 line on a pullback. You get a little pinch, you get a 1, 2, 3 lower highs. I've got pretty good contained risk on the play. And, it just gives me sort of the opportunity to play this with smaller risks. Now, again, what I mentioned in the prior video, I think I would be more inclined to do options in this play than the actual stock. Not sure what the options would look like in this pattern with all the volatility. They might be too expensive. But if you're going to do it with the stock, make sure you play with smaller size. The market conditions should play a significant role in how aggressive you want to be. And if you don't have the conditions in place that are optimum, play with smaller size. If you typically risk 500 on a trade, cut it down to 250 or maybe even 125. Just put up a quarter of what you normally would. Try and stay in the market and find ideal patterns when they show up. But you got to be really, really patient. The conditions out here are just, very, very unpredictable. So I'm sort of giving you an idea, I think, of how you could play this game right now. Still waiting for a sign on the hourly chart of the S&P to show a reversal. And we'll just have to see if that can develop. If that does, I think that could provide, a much better backdrop for some long-term trades. But you can go and identify the stocks that are showing very good strength in price conditions on the daily chart and try and play for, a small move, 2 to 3 to 4 day move to the upside. But you have to be nimble. And again, I would take smaller risk if you're going to do these types of trades. So please hit the subscribe button. Let's build up the number of subscribers to this channel. I want to continue to provide the kind of content that I've been doing, and I actually want to expand it. I have a lot of ideas in terms of how to expand this, but need to hit the like button to improve the algorithm for YouTube, and I need to see some more subscribers. So hopefully we'll talk to you soon, and I will continue to provide the content as I see it. All right, thank you.